And we'll just take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And just become present to yourself here in this moment, here in this space. Beginning to allow sounds into your awareness. Allowing all sounds in, all part of this moment, perhaps the passing traffic, or birds singing out the window. You might hear a pet or a roommate shuffling around. And notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. And begin to scan your body from head down towards toes, like passing through an X-ray machine, checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. Just taking note to work into those spaces that call out for your attention throughout your practice here today. We'll shift the awareness from Annamaya Kosha, the body, to Pranamaya Kosha, energetic level. Just notice on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at in this moment? 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl back into bed. 10 being so full of energy, it's hard to sit still. And shifting the attention up to the breath. No need to change it, just observe inhalations, exhalations, whatever space in between. Shifting the awareness up to the mind, Manomaya Kosha. Allow thoughts and feelings to arise without reining them in, without adding to the storyline. No engagement. Like images being projected on a screen. The story continues without you feeding it. And just notice, what are the quality of the thoughts today? Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice, as well as your ability to observe these thoughts from a distance. We'll bring that attention back down to the breath. This time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhales fill belly like a balloon expanding. Exhales draw belly button in towards spine, deflating. Inhale fills belly and ribs. Exhale releases ribs, then belly. Inhales fill belly, ribs, and chest, air filling up to the collarbones. Exhale releases chest, ribs, belly, all deflating, complete exhalation. Following like that at your own pace, inhaling from bottom to top, expanding. Exhaling top to bottom, deflating. The spine is tall, still seated up nice and tall, like there's a string pulling you from the crown of your head towards the ceiling. The space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. Focusing on the breath, consider your ability to observe these levels of self. In yoga, they're called koshas. Your body, your energy, or breath, your thoughts, your emotions, your mind. By being able to observe these objectively, you must be behind the curtain, a layer deeper, perhaps many layers deeper. Your true self, capital S self, is much larger and cosmic than the body, the mind, your energy. And yet all of those koshas, all of those sheaths, those levels are a part of you. So here in class, we attempt to calibrate all these levels of self. And on your next exhale, releasing any effort from the breath, releasing that Dirga Pranayam, that 3-part breathing. We invite our hands to meet at heart center in Anjali Mudra. Fingers pressed together, no space, thumbs pressed into sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice. It might be the sankalpa that we worked on in the beginning of the year, or something new might inspire you today. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. Of course, you're invited to chant with me. First, a cleansing breath. Om. Place your hands to your lap. Chin drops towards chest. And inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest. And left ear rolls towards left shoulder. Just allowing the head to gently roll side to side. Opening the space between ear, neck, and shoulder, trapezius muscle. And the next time the head rolls over to the right side, right ear over right shoulder, we'll hold it there and the breathing continues. So chest is nice and tall. Bring the right hand on top of the head. No need to pull down, gravity is enough. And the left arm reaches away. Gently lower the hand until the fingers are just grazing the ground. So I'm really pulling energy, is reaching down and away to open up this space in between. Now instead of pulling down with the hand, we're going to hold the hand right in place and press the head into the hand. So I'm using some neck strength to press into my hand. So I'm pressing up with the head. Still breathing fully. Then release the hand from the head. Chin drops down towards chest. And left ear over towards left shoulder. Seated up tall. Left hand comes to land on top of the head, on top of the right side of the head. Right arm reaches away. Then gently touches down. You should feel a stretch here on that trapezius muscle. What connects your shoulders to your head. Fingertips are just grazing the ground, barely touching. And then the head presses into the hand. So we're leaving some neck tension here. Sometimes we feel like what we need to do that is to stretch out the neck. But sometimes just activating the muscles can really help in letting some of that pressure go. So I'm pushing really hard, like I'm putting in a lot of effort to press the head into the hand, creating that resistance. Full breath here. And then release. Hand, chin back down towards chest. It comes up through center. Look left, look right. See how that feels. Let's continue with our mobility practice in the neck. You can stay facing the screen if you don't, especially if you don't know where we're going with this. Turning to the side so that you can see see what this is all about, see what this next movement's about. I stay seated up tall, chest over hips. Chin tucks down towards chest. It rolls forward, rolls down and then forward. So I'm going as far as I can, full range of motion in my neck. I'm drawing a circle with my nose. Up, up, up until I go back. And I can't go back any further. Chin comes back in towards chest. So I'm following this circle motion and just attempting to smooth it out. Temptation here is to start moving the shoulders, but just let them be relaxed. They're not really involved at all. This is all about the cervical spine, about those little muscles, little bones, and the space in between in your neck. I learned this from my friend Rome, just functional movement, primal movement training. And this really helped alleviate a lot of tension, headaches, and migraines I was getting from looking down all day. We're going to change directions, and what that looks like is coming forward. Now the chin is leading, down like a scoop, all the way in and up, all the way up, forward, and down. Of course, we're multitasking here. We are breathing. Don't hold the breath. Keep it nice and long, nice and strong. And just see really where are your limits of mobility in your neck. We're just working to smooth them out here. Expand that range of motion. Bring it back to center. We'll start rolling the shoulders forward. Okay, now you can move your shoulders any which way. Eyes don't even have to be open for this part. You know how to do this. And roll the shoulders back. Coming to stillness in the shoulders. We'll inhale, arms sweep up overhead, reaching tall out of the waist. Exhale, bend over to the right. Left arm reaches over. Right hip, or rather, yes, left hip glued to the ground. Inhale up through center. And exhale over to the left. So we're opening this whole side body, following the breath in to rise. And out to bend. In to rise. Out to bend. You can do this quite easily, even if you're in a chair. I know a couple of you do practice from a chair. We've got one more over to the left. Meeting with arms up overhead, we'll take an exhale to twist right. Left hand lands on top of right knee, right hand lands behind you, on the ground close to your hip or on the back seat of the chair. And inhale back up through center. So we're connecting one movement to one part of the breath. Exhales a twist like wringing out a sponge. Not your deepest twist ever, just waking up the body to this movement. And inhale brings you back up through center. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, rise and center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, center. Once more to each side, following your own pace. And bending the elbows, hands come to ear height. Just wave the hands out. So we're just warming up the hands and the wrists here before we put any weight on them. Then hands come down, fingers wiggle from side to side like playing the piano. Don't move the elbows. Palms flip open to the sky, so my fingers are pressing back as hard as they can, as far as they can. Fingers spread wide. And we rotate like tossing pizzas. Maybe gluten-free vegan pizzas for some of us on stream. Alright. So this takes some actual muscle effort. Your forearms should actually begin to start to fatigue. That's how much effort you're putting into the hands pressing back here. Let's give it a light shake of water. Shake off the hands. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Sip of tea. All that yelling during breath of joy, guys. Just wait. Alright, so legs come out in front. We'll spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Just waking up the bottom legs now. Bring chat over here so I can actually see what you guys are saying. Change directions. Bend in the knees, feet come flat onto the ground, and we'll drop the knees left and right, left and right. So I just start with one knee and then I let it go as far as it can until the other leg starts to drag over. And my legs are far enough apart, feet are far enough apart that my knee lands on the ground, not on top of the other leg. Just waking up the hips. There's like really no wrong way of doing this. And the next time the knees fall over to the right, we'll bring our hands to frame the right knee. And inhale, shoulders press back, shoulder blades squeeze together, chest opens, tilting up. So it's an arch in the spine. And exhaling, we'll wave down, belly, chest, head. So I'm reaching forward first, and I go as far forward as I can, and when I can't anymore, you start going down to the ground, because obviously your hips are connected to the ground. And then we roll up, rounding in the spine, heavy head comes up last. So it's a deep breath in here, and exhaling, belly, chest, head on a fold. Inhale, rolls you back up. So beginning to connect the speed of your body to the length of your breath. Just tune into your breath, into your spine. We're trying to roll one vertebra at a time here. We'll meet back up at seated. Right hand comes to land close to the hips on the ground. Left arm sweeps up on the inhale. And exhale, we twist. Arm crosses in front of the chest and twist back behind you. Reaching the arm. And inhale, bring it back forward. Lift up onto the knees, hips rise. Lifting hips and chest. Exhale, hips touch down to the ground. And twist. Inhale, forward and rise. Exhale, hips touch down to twist. And left hand comes down behind the hips. We drop the knees over to the left. Knee on the ground, maybe press up against the foot but not on top of the foot, and hands come to frame the left knee. We inhale, please, good morning. Come on, you wanna come say hi? Inhaling, shoulders pull back, chest opens. And exhaling, we wave down. Belly, chest, head. Inhale rolls you up one vertebra at a time. Heavy head comes up last. Exhaling, waving forward, belly, chest, head. Inhale, rolls back up. Following your own breath's pace here for a couple rounds. We meet back up at seated. Left hand, yeah. Darren, yeah. DD squad. And Kai, say hello, Lucy. Yes, good morning, good morning. Everybody loves Lucy. Left hand on the ground, close to your left hip. Right arm sweeps open. Love how she is watching the movement so patiently. Oh yeah, she joins us
most days, but not all. Today she's graced us with her very classy presence. On the exhale, we cross the arm in front of the body, reaching back behind you, allowing for a twist. Inhale brings you back up through center, lifting up on the hips, lifting up off the hips. The chest rises as well. Exhale, hips touch down to twist. Yeah, she's very used to me making body shapes on the ground. So we're landing softly, reaching deeply behind us. Let's just do one more of these. Inhaling to rise, opening up front side body. Exhale, hips touch down to twist. Bring it back through center. Knees fall over to the right. Hands come in front. Let me actually fix the lighting a little bit. Yeah. All right, so now we're facing the front of the mat. Right foot steps up between the hands, left foot steps up to meet it. We'll heel toe the feet nice and wide, maybe to the edges of your mat, depending how tall you are. And here, just gonna bend in one knee and straighten the other. So my hands are still on the ground, maybe they're on blocks or on books, but the knees can be bent enough to make this possible. And then with the knees really, really bent, let the head nod yes. Shake the head no. And grab opposite elbows to create a little frame for your head. And then begin to give the upper body a rock side to side, working into the hips and the legs. So legs are as bent or as straight as works for you. If your legs are super bent and you're like, how could I ever straighten my legs out? Just try one at a time. So as I lean over to the right, I let my left leg straighten. As I lean over to my left, with my left knee bent, I straighten out my right leg. This is the first major forward fold, so there's no pressure, there's no rush to get to a straight leg position or anything like that. We're just waking the body up to the potential. This is called ragdoll. And gently release the hands down, bend in the knees to heel toe the feet together. Big toes come to touch, a little space between the heels so that the ankles don't knock together. We inhale to a halfway lift. Hands on shins, crown of the head towards the front wall, tailbone towards the back wall, like making the number 7 with the body. Deep breath in here. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale brings you all the way up to stand. We roll up one vertebra at a time, just like we've been practicing. Heavy head comes up last. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Eyes follow fingertips. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come through heart center, a little bend in the knees to protect the lower back, and hinging forward at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins. Exhale, chair pose. Bend in the knees, sink in the hips like you're sitting in an invisible chair, and then the arms can sweep forward. Notice in your lower back if your butt is like sticking up and out, or if you're rounding. You don't want to be in cat pose or cow pose. You want to be right in the middle. No S-curve, just flat. I like bringing my arms forward parallel to the ground, but for a bit more of a strength challenge, you can bring the arms up
towards the ears, up overhead. That brings tension to my neck, so it's not my favorite variation, but it's totally valid. Knees are squeezing together like you're holding something in between your knees. And the hips are back, so far back that if I were to look down, I could see my toes past my knees without a problem. I'm trying to press my chest back too. Almost like I'm trying to get my chest over my hips, although of course I won't because I fall over. So have a full breath here. Utkatasana, chair pose, you can do it. Then relief, stand tall, full body stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground, right foot takes a giant step back. Left knee over left ankle. We'll gently release that knee down to the mat and really untuck the toes. So the shoelace part of the foot's pressed into the ground, and just activate that. Just feel how that would feel, pressing it into the ground so hard that the knee lifts. It's a deep stretch in the front right quad. Maybe the knee doesn't get airtime, that's okay. But just the press is going to give you a bit of that tension, that activation. Then we press it up to a low lunge, shoulders over hips. You can use your left thigh to get you there. If you're going as high as you can, and your shoulders are still over the knee, over the thigh, and not over the hips, then bring your back knee in a bit. You'll come into more of like a marriage proposal pose, but you'll be able to get the shoulders over the hips and safer for this right thigh. If you're here and you're like, I don't feel a stretch, kick that foot further back. Right? Beautiful. Anjali asana. Inhaling, arms sweep up overhead. On the exhale, we twist to the left. So the left hand reaches back behind you, right arm reaches forward. Inhale back through center. Same side, twist left. Inhale center. Exhale twist. Thank you for the tips, been helping me through hard times. Scary Logan, you're welcome. I'm happy to help or support, right? So we're gonna release the hands down to frame the left foot, toes tuck under, and we lift the leg. So I'm pressing the heel back to straighten out the leg, back of the knees going towards the sky. And we're bringing it up to a high lunge here. So you might play with bringing the arms straight up over. Or once again, you can use this left thigh as a step in between to stabilize. Hands come onto the hips, right hips pressing forward, left hips pulling back. Once again, we're checking in for shoulders over hips. So if you find yourself here, you can't bring this back without pinching your lower back, bend in the back knee. This is not an easier version. It just allows your shoulders over your hips. If anything, it's more strength. It's even more strengthening for that back thigh. But yes, we're just here for one deep breath. The arms up overhead, deep breath in. Let it go. Shoulders melt away from the ears, a little bend to the elbows. Another deep breath in. Maybe the chest rises and the gaze rises for a balance challenge. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Left foot steps back to meet right foot, plank pose. Straight line from the heels to the crown of the head. So we're not in cow pose with an arch in the spine. We're not in cat pose with a round in the spine. We're nice and flat. Fingers are spread wide, deep breath in. And exhale, come onto the tiptoes, shoulders go past the wrists. And an option to lower the knees here as we chaturanga. Elbows bend 90 degrees. We don't go past 90 degrees. Just the triceps or the inner arms are pressed into the rib cage here. Tops of the feet flip.
I press my chest forward, shoulder blades pull back. Tops of the feet are pressed into the ground so hard that my hips and thighs are not touching the ground. My knees aren't even touching the ground for upward facing dog. Alternately, your hips, thighs, and legs can be pressed into the ground for Bhujangasana, cobra pose. In that case, hands are a little bit further forward and bend in the elbows. Don't straighten the arms if your thighs are touching the ground. So, either in a high cobra or an upward facing dog. We've got one more breath here. And let's press it through puppy pose today. We worked on this a little bit on Friday. We press back to tabletop with hips over knees, but I know there's a few people here who have shoulder stuff that they're working with, so this is going to be a beautiful chest and shoulder stretch. From here, hips stay over knees. We slide the hands forward. It's called inchworm also. It's puppy or inchworm pose. You're trying to get your chest to the ground. Tops of the hands press into, the hands press into the ground so hard that the elbows are trying to stay lifted. Then mouth, chin, or forehead come to the ground. I'm going to do chin because that way I can keep talking to you. So my armpits are pressing down towards the ground like they're going to touch. They don't, but that's the direction. And then my lower back is going to attempt to round. So my upper back, my chest is trying to go into cow pose, right? It's going open, 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 open. But my lower back is trying to get into cat pose. It's rounding. It's going to be imperceptible, but you'll feel it. So upper back, armpits trying to touch down to the ground, lower back trying to go into cat pose. You should feel a really deep stretch in the shoulders here. So we just got one more deep breath here in puppy pose or inchworm. Then we press it back up to tabletop. Yeah? Toes tuck under, or yeah, let's do this. Let's sit back on the heels in hero's pose. If this is like not so great for the knees, you can always place a blanket in between. We're just here for a transition. Hands come behind you, fingers interlace like you're holding your own hand. If your hands don't reach one another, that's okay. You can like grab a block or a bandana, butt poke, to close that gap. If you don't have a prop near you right now, just like Superman, like just straight back behind you, hands and fists, as close as you can get them together. So pulling the shoulders back, chest open, like your knuckles are going to touch the ground. Deep breath in. And exhale, we fold forward. You can watch me the first time just so you're not looking around upside down. As my forehead comes down to the ground, my hips lift, and they come onto the flat part of my head. I don't go further. I'm not stretching out my neck here. I'm just finding the flat part of my head, and then arms reach up towards the sky. Even if they're not interlaced, they're reaching up towards the sky to give the shoulders an opposite stretch. You can even bring your hands towards the front wall if you feel you've got the space to play. Yoga mudra, symbol of yoga pose. So once again, you're folding forward, forehead comes to the ground, and then we roll onto the top of your head. There's a flat part, you'll feel it. Don't go past there, and just let the hips rise up over the knees, and let the fists rise up over the shoulders, or towards that direction. And we'll gently release, hands back to lower back, unlace the hands, let the hips come down towards the heels. Take it a moment here in this variation of child's pose. Arms can come forward, deep breath in, let it go. Then fingers spread wide, toes tuck under. My dog is underneath my yoga mat. You're a drama queen. And hips press up high for downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide, Then pedal out the feet here, finding the spacing that works for you. The closer your feet are to your hands, the deeper the stretch in the legs. The farther your feet are from your hands, the deeper the stretch in the shoulders. So you find some place in the middle that works for you. You might be leaning towards one direction or the other, and that's just fine. One's not more advanced than the other, one's not better than the other. It's just a different variation. The head hang heavy. We've got a deep breath here. And the right leg reaches up and back behind you, toes towards the back wall. Bend in the right knee and stack right hip over left hip. Hands are glued to the ground, committed to the ground. Knees pressed up towards the sky. So it's a little scary here to stack the hips open. Just squeeze the glutes. Don't bend in that left elbow. It's really tempting to bend in the left elbow. We just stay strong in the arms, reaching tall with the knee. Another deep breath in here, three-legged dog. And exhale through tiger pose. Knee comes in towards nose, rounding in the spine like cat pose. Come onto the tiptoes of the left foot to shift the shoulders over the wrists, and right foot steps up between the hands. It's okay if it takes more than one step. Gently we'll release the left knee to the ground and untuck the left toe so the shoelace part of the foot is pressed into the ground. And here we can play with straightening that leg once more. So we're pressing the top of the foot into the ground, strong enough to lift the leg. Maybe the knee doesn't lift. It's okay if it doesn't. Even just making the effort, the pressure in is going to help build that strength and also give the foot a nice stretch. We're not letting the foot sickle in. It's going straight back behind us. All right, allowing that knee to rest. We'll come up to Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Right knee over right ankle. Should feel a bit of a stretch on the left hip, left thigh, but the shoulders should be over the hips. Remember, if you're stuck here and you can't bring yourself any higher, bring the back knee in a bit. If you're not feeling a deep enough stretch in the left thigh and you have no problem with the shoulder placement, let that knee go further back. And there's still that engagement, there's still that press into the ground. You don't have to keep your knee lifted, but there's still some engagement so that you can stay nice and grounded here. Deep breath in, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale is a high twist to the right. Right arm sweeps back behind you, left arm sweeps forward. Inhale brings you front and center. Exhale, same side to the right. And it's nice and slow, like moving through honey. Momentum's not your friend here. Inhaling back through center. Exhale to twist. Last one, just like that. We meet back at center. Release the hands down to frame the front foot. Left toes tuck under. Press into that heel to straighten out the left leg. We come up to a high lunge using the right thigh as a step or working on that, lift up. Yeah. So pressing back through the heel, straightening that leg if possible, and just checking in that shoulders are over hips. Right knee's over right ankle. It never goes past forward, right? So we always keep it here, moving a little bit back, but we're attempting to get to a point where it's 90 degrees. The shoulders are forward, you can't bring them back. The lower back's not letting you bend in that back knee to help with the alignment. Arms come up overhead. And exhale, shoulders melt away from the ears. So we're strong here in the stance, strong in the breath. Deep breath in, maybe there's a little bit of a tilt back, a little bit of a back bend. And exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. Right foot steps back to meet left foot, coming back into your plank pose. Straight line from the heels to the crown of the head. Even if you know you're not going to be lowering down chaturanga with us or anything like that, see if you can come into this plank pose. Squeeze the glutes. So my hips, thighs are slightly pressed forward. pull straight line from the crown of the head to the heels. And just see if you can hold it here for 10, 9, space between the shoulder blades. We're not sinking in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down halfway. The knees, chin, chest touch down and flatten out. Hands come down by the sides. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Then mouth, chin, or forehead comes centered. Toes come to touch, or legs come close to touching. If they don't, that's okay, but we're going towards that. Hands come behind you, fingers interlace, like we were doing before. Maybe you have a strap or a bandana to close that gap. If not, Superman hands back behind you in fists. Tops of the feet press so strong into the ground that the knees lift. Hips pressed into the ground by squeezing the glutes. And inhale, chest and shoulders rise. The head is not lifting and looking up. I'm still looking at the front edge of my mat. Arms reach up and back, though. Shoulders pulling away from the ears. It's like I'm trying to get my knuckles to touch my toes. And then maybe if it feels okay on your body, we lift the legs and the feet. Still I'm trying to get my toes to touch. Full breathing here. Shalambhasana, locust pose. So this whole pose, there's a lift, but there's also a lengthen. My heart's reaching forward towards the front wall. My toes are reaching towards the back wall. My knuckles are reaching towards the back wall. So I'm going for length almost more so than height for a last deep breath here. And gently release down. Feet, chest, shoulders, hands. One cheek can land on the ground, knees can bend. And we'll windshield wiper them side to side. And then let the left leg come down. Left hand can come under, or arm can come underneath the forehead like a pillow, and right hand comes back to grab the top of the right foot. This is easier when you're not talking. Alright, so knees are in alignment with one another, and I'm pulling the foot in towards the glute for a quad stretch. Just breathing here. If you don't feel a quad stretch, what you can do is lift the knee towards the sky. So I'm lifting my thigh up off the ground. If you still don't feel it, squeeze your glutes and press your hips into the ground. So we're talking about anterior and posterior tilts in the pelvic bowl all week. So this is going to be a posterior tilt. I'm pressing into the ground. And gently release that foot down. Change the hands over. Left knee bends, hand comes to the top of the foot and pulling the heel in towards the glute. Squeeze. You can press the hips into the ground to feel more of a stretch on that quad. Or even lift the knee up off the ground. But don't open it out to the side. That's not what we're doing here. It's all through center line. We'll gently release the knee down, release the grip on the knee. Hands come underneath the shoulders and we press it back up to our tabletop pose. Hips over knees, and we're going in for a second round of our puppy pose. Hands slide forward, mouth, chin, or forehead come to the ground. Trying to get my chest to touch the ground. It doesn't matter if it does or doesn't. That's just the direction of the body. Palms are pressed strong into the ground. Armpits are pressing down towards the earth, and my lower back is attempting to round. So it looks like a passive pose, but there's actually a lot of activation in the body here. I'm trying to round my lower back while pressing my chest and armpits down to touch the mat. So we're fully breathing here. No matter how much effort you put in, breath is always involved. There's no holding. And then we bring the hands in through tabletop pose. Toes tuck under, hips press up high for downward facing dog. So your shoulders might be really warmed up now, so you can get that long line from wrist all the way up to hips without this angle breaking it in between. So let the chest be heavy, let the head be heavy. Right, it's called puppy pose because it like leads to downward facing dog or aids in that. Or maybe your shoulders are super fatigued now because that's the most work they've done in quite a while, and that's okay too. We're just here for a deep breath. And the left leg reaches up and back behind you. Bend in the left knee and stack left hip over right hip. My arms are strong. I'm not bending in this right elbow, even though it's really tempting. I keep it long and strong. Knee reaching up towards the sky, just being brave. Like the worst thing, if you keep going and you were to fall, you would fall into a pose called rock star, or I think it's called wild thing, which is no big deal. So here we are in three-legged dog. We're not going into that next pose, and instead we're going into tiger pose. Knee comes in towards nose, rounding in the spine. Onto the tiptoes of the right foot, shoulders come up over the wrists, and left foot steps up between the hands. Right foot steps up to meet it. It's okay if it takes more than one step. It can take 8 steps. As long as you get there, it's all that matters. Inhale to a halfway lift. Big toes come to touch, a little space between the heels. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale brings you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. Exhale, hands to heart. Center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, right elbow bends, palm face up towards the sky. Hope if you can see. Cool. My right knee bends. I'm going to reach back for my foot, for the inside of my foot. So from palm face up to the sky, I haven't flipped my hand, just grabbing the inside of my foot. I'm bringing the knees into alignment. So from the front, I just have 1.5 legs. Just like Shalabhasana, our knees are together. Okay. Finding a spot ahead of me, a drishti, a focal point. Maybe where the sky would meet the ocean on the horizon line. It's like where I like to choose. And then as I kick my foot into the hand, my foot's kicking up and back behind me, I reach my left fingertips forward and let myself hinge on the left hip to alleviate some of that balance. So like an arrow being pulled back on a bowstring, my foot is kicking into the hand. The resistance is the secret of this pose. The grip, you've got a death grip on that right foot. It's not going anywhere. The harder you kick, the more centered you'll feel here in this dancer pose. I'm letting my right shoulder open up, my right shoulder be stretched out by that foot, and I'm full breathing here. Kick, 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 and then returning back, like pressing rewind. As much care as you went into it. Arm releases down, leg releases down. Deep breath in, let it go. If you just attempted that with me, you won. It doesn't matter if you fell out or not. Seriously. Good morning, Mom. Hi, I love you. Okay, we've got one more side. You know how balance works. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, left elbow bends in towards the side body. Bend in the left knee. Foot comes in towards the butt. Then reach the hand back. So I'm not flipping my hand's still towards the sky, and it grabs the inner arch of the foot. Bring the knees into alignment. Okay. Find that drishti focal point ahead of you. Ideally, it is not the screen because I'm going to be moving. You don't want it to be moving. You want something that's static. Deep breath in to get tall. Exhale. We hinge just a bit as the left foot kicks into the hand. The harder the foot kicks, the farther your right hand reaches. The chest is being opened, shoulder being stretched open as well. The concentration on that drishti, on that focal point, is laser focus. Maybe you're not even blinking so that you don't have to break that line of energy. Still, we're breathing fully, kicking strong, 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 foot into the hand, death grip on the foot, like an arrow being pulled back on a bowstring, laser focus on the bullseye. Last deep kick, last deep breath. And a slow motion return back to center. Release the leg, release the arm, take a deep breath in. Let it go. And we're gonna really let it go here. Start shaking it out. Shake out the leg, the other leg, the whole body. Bring a little jump to it. And just let my shoulders rise and drop. So we're coming into our lymphatic shake part of class. This is all about relieving tension. Just letting your whole body jiggle, like, especially in the last pose, but all the poses, we're like, okay, you know, there's specific alignment, knee over ankle, chest over hips, all of that. This is like the opposite. This is like literally just flop around. You can take up the whole surface area of your mat. If you're like, ew, I hate jumping, I get it, okay, we lift the heels and just drop them down, landing with bent knees so the whole body can just jiggle. So we're just letting the whole body shake, and if you're like, all right, it's not like super happening, then just up the speed of the bounces. Let go of just breathing in and out through your nose, and start breathing through your mouth if you haven't already. Audible sighs are always welcome in class. They're highly encouraged during this part. Just shake off whatever frustration you just felt in that last pose, whatever frustration you felt in your day, in your week. This is your chance to just literally shake it off, just like Lucy did when she got up, when she saw I was ignoring her, and she's like, yeah, whatever. Whatever, bitch. She like got up and shook it off. Like, that's what we're doing to like everything that doesn't serve us. Just shaking. I like shaking my hands, but you can also just let them like flop down by the sides. You just see kind of what works for you. So heat's building, heart rate's rising. We're gonna come into our breath of joy. This is a pranayama, a breathing technique. It's all about letting go. Okay, and it looks like this. We take a third of our air capacity, inhale in, no exhale. Inhale, arms open out to the side, another third of your lung capacity in. And then the last third of your lung capacity in, arms come forward, and a big ha out through the mouth. Like the chair pose we were in before, chest comes to the thighs and arms sweep back. Doesn't matter if your chest touches your thighs, okay? So it goes sip of air in, sip of air in, sip of air in, ha! Yeah? And you just scream as loud as you can. It's great, right? So we have 10 of those. In, 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 ha! In, ha! In, ha! 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 3 more if you haven't joined in yet. Now's your chance. Ha! Ha! Last one. Ha! Let your feet come nice and wide. One hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Eyes can close. Just take a moment here to notice what was created.
what showed up for you. Yes, increased body heat, maybe body sweat, heart rate, breath rate, but what else? When you let go, let loose, what shows up for you? And if you held back or opted out, ask yourself, why are you holding back? What or whose judgment are you afraid of? We had a really poignant moment, and I learned this in my own life, when I thought what I feared was the judgment of others. But then left to my own devices, living alone, I noticed that I still was holding back for fear of not looking cool or something. And for fear of judgment. But I was the only one there to observe. So I was really only fearing my own judgment all along. But there is liberation on the other side of that realization. And an invitation here every day to confront that. And gently allow your eyes to open. Right, take a sip of water, towel off here. Get closer to you. Bring chat over. If you're already on the ground, stay there. And if not, you can meet with me at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, bend the knees deep, deep, so deep. They come down to seated. I'll take a sip of water. Or chamomile tea. So here we are, seated. Give your knees a hug in, roll back. There we go. Little rock side to side. So you got my hips little circles. Lots of hip work today. Change the direction of the circles. Next time knees are in center, they fall over to the right or are gently placed to the right. Right hand lands on top of left knee. Left arm opens up like the letter T, looking over the left fingers. Left shoulder's pressing down towards the ground. Otherwise, the whole body's relaxed. Doesn't matter if the knees are touching, if they're touching the ground. We're just letting gravity do the work here. The gaze can be over the left fingertips for a complete supine twist. Supta Matsyendrasana. Your body's done enough work. If you just followed me through that, or even if you just did part of it, just let your body relax here. The only effort is that left shoulder pressing down towards the ground. Head comes back up through center, knees come up through center. And the knees gently fall over to the left. Left hand lands on top of the right knee. Right arm opens up like the letter T. Right shoulder pressing down towards the ground. You can look over your right shoulder here to give the neck an even stretch.
Head comes back up through center, knees come up through center. Notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or pose or stretch that your body's asking for? As we prepare for Savasana, final relaxation pose. Whatever's going to best round out your practice. Doesn't have to have a fancy yoga name, doesn't have to have a name at all, actually. And preparing for Savasana might also look like grabbing a blanket or putting on socks, as your body temperature will lower in this next pose. Just taking your time to move through any perhaps body part that called out for your attention in the beginning of class that wasn't quite addressed during our asana movement practice. Then we make our way into Shavasana, final relaxation pose. Legs come down the length of the mat. Feet land at least a foot apart from one another. Legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open to the sides. If laying flat on your back brings any pain to your lower back, you can place a folded blanket, like a rolled up blanket or pillow below the knees to keep a bend in them. If you don't have a prop or don't feel like getting up to get a prop, but you do have this lower back issue, you can bend in the knees, bringing the feet mat's distance apart, so super far wide apart, and then drop the knees together, broken bridge. So the knees knock together. There's no muscle effort here. Gravity's just holding my knees up, and that's gonna let you just tuck the hips a little bit and alleviate that pressure in the lower back. Arms are down by the sides. I like to tuck the shoulders under a bit so that my back feels more supported, and the palms are face open to the sky, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. Head is centered, eyes can close, or come to a soft gaze at the sky, at the ceiling, if that's more comfortable for you. You stay reclining. I'm going to come up to seated so I can play some singing bowls and more appropriately lead you through this meditation. Oh, okay. There we go. So we'll start this just as we did our grounding meditation with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Audible sighs encouraged and welcome. Allow your breath to return to a natural pace. And then invite your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth, a symbol of chitta vritti, monkey mind. And we're just inviting that monkey mind to take a back seat. As all the muscles surrounding the lips, cheeks, and the nostrils relax. Air gently flowing in and out through the nose, like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets. Eyelids just barely touching.
And the space between the eyebrows broadens as the muscles of the forehead relax. And all the muscles surrounding the ears, back of the head, top of the head, relax. Throat and neck release. Shoulders melt away. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. Palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, fingernail beds, whole hands, alive with vibration, whole hands, alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back, rest heavy, supported by the earth below. Chest naturally rising and falling, perhaps imperceptibly. With 2 lungs, transforming the air around you. Into oxygen. In between 2 lungs, a heart that beats lifeblood through your system. And these systems work without your direct command, without your managing or supervision. And yet, you live. Belly naturally rises and falls with the breath. Housing organs that transform food into energy. Glutes, pelvis, hips, rest heavy and supported by the earth below. Thighs and knees melt away. Lower legs and ankles relax. Heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet and toes all relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more, nothing less. And gently invite the inhalations to deepen, become longer and deeper than your exhalations. And every inhale replaces that feeling of heaviness and sinking with a feeling of openness and expansion, the awareness moving to the front side of the body, to the surface. And gently begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Head can rock side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. And let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. Fully released and fully supported by the ground below you. You can use that bottom arm as a pillow. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today, or take this opportunity to set an intention now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground, coming up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we practiced a rather fiery vinyasa flow, connecting movement and breath through a series of Surya Namaskar, sun salutation inspired postures, focusing on lunges and opening up the shoulders. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the miracle that it is, for the effort that it put in today. And the second namaste is said out loud to all that held this space. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who joined me this morning or evening, this practice. I appreciate each and every one of you. Your presence does make a difference. even virtually. Thank you, Oya Hydrangea, with the shout out for Venmo. Yeah, I was able to get this great light with your guys' help. Namaste, namaste. Mahavira, if you're still with us, feels lovely, feels like I'm being healed. I'm so glad that was a positive experience for you. Honored to be able to provide some good vibes on a Sunday morning. Right? And every morning at the same time. Every morning at the same time, we're here practicing yoga. Today was probably a more intense class than we have been doing. Definitely 2 weeks ago we did like an entire week of, or rather not 2 weeks ago, last week we did like a whole week of restorative and gentle flow yoga. You're welcome, Biggie. Biggie 160. Thank you for joining. End of the week, I'm feeling really restored and like I have a lot more energy. So that's why I kicked it up a notch. Namaste. And yeah, thank you. So yeah, with a $5 tip to my Venmo or to the PayPal, you get a link to the recording of class so you can watch class whenever you feel like it, whenever it works for you. If you ever miss a class, you can also just Venmo me and then I'll send you the link to a class or any of the classes that you've missed. And there are links in the description so you can go straight to the meditation if you just want to do a grounding meditation, if you just want to do lymphatic shake and breath of joy break, if you just want to do Savasana at the end, you can just click on the button and it'll bring you right to that part of class. Namaste, Linda. Namaste, Mom. Glad you guys made it. Appreciate you. Dare Squad. Thank you. I didn't even know there was tension in those parts of my body. You're welcome. I'm glad that we're able to get into all those nooks and crannies. And yeah, sometimes people come to me, they're like, I have a body part that's sore, I don't even know the name of it. And I'm like, yes, well, it's been asleep for too long. We woke it up. More to come. Be gentle with yourselves. Drink water. I'm drinking tea, but drink water. And have like an amazing Sunday, or amazing rest of your weekend. Thank you. Getting some notifications now. So to everyone sending in those Venmos, those tips, I really appreciate you. I love you. And once we wrap up and I edit the video, I'll send it over to you ASAP. And yeah, you guys really keep this going. Pay for my internet. Pay for my lights. Yeah. Let's raid the great kind. Question mark? No question mark. Oh, you're asking me if we can raid self-improvement stream. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that in a minute. In a minute, Swiss. I don't think I've met the great kind yet. Yeah, thanks to everyone who joined in on Facebook and on YouTube, but of course on Twitch. I feel like all my Twitch people are actually practicing with me, and everyone on YouTube and Facebook are just like, what's going on? But yeah, I really appreciate all of you. Papa Mario, thanks for stopping by as well, my friend. I'm glad that you've been really consistent here on your Sundays. Oh, by the way, guys, today is our 28th stream together. 28. They say it takes 21 days to create a habit, and we're on number 28, so it's like we were well on our way. They say 90 days to create a lifestyle. So, I don't know. Yeah, so January has how many days left? 6 days left? 7 days left? So that'll bring us to not 90. I don't know. Should we keep going? Should we keep streaming every morning? Or just keep it to weekends? Kind of loving doing it every day, but I'll just have to make the decision later on in the week. Definitely 100%. I'm here every day for the rest of January. So I appreciate you all. And yeah, more good stuff to come. Of course, if you have any questions, if you have any questions about the practice, about meditation, about the philosophy, about anything that I ever say, you can DM me on Instagram. You can send me a whisper here on Twitch. Send me a private message on Facebook if I won't see the Facebook one. But I'm actively, I'm like putting it on my list of like places to check. And if you know me IRL, of course, text me. And as long as it's not Saturday, I will answer you, because on Saturdays I don't do any a tech Sabbath on Saturdays. So but I do still stream on Twitch, because I made the commitment to Twitch before I made the commitment to my tech-free Saturdays. So I stream here on Saturday mornings, and then I like just get rid of all of my tech otherwise. So or try to do little to no screen time at all. But besides that, we had a whole 6 days together. Please blow up my phone. I love talking about all of this, and I love giving all of you who have reached out for alternatives. It also gives me an idea of what direction to really bring the class into. Because if everyone's in a different place in each pose. So don't ever feel like you're like, I'm a beginner, I don't belong here. Like 100% you do. I'm doing my best to break down the poses and give us all time to really figure out the alignment and all of that. So yeah, the great kind. Okay, so for everybody who's on YouTube and Facebook, I love you, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. For everybody that's on Twitch, we are going to raid The Great Kind, which is a self-improvement stream. So basically, if you're watching this channel right now, we're going to head over into another channel. You can just drop some tiger emojis into the chat and say hi from us to them. And let's see what they're all about. I'm meeting them for the first time too. So much love. Namaste. Let's go check them out.